Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Fallout Shelter Survival. How y'all doing? So, I've been doing some thinking, and I'm not sure if maybe I've perhaps wandered too far off the path and started looking at the trees instead of the whole forest. I started going down this rabbit hole of doing these quests and taking time to kibitz with you and everything under the sun, from life to home ownership to jobs and any other cliche I can throw at you. But that's not what I was attempting to do with this look at the survival mode for Fallout Shelter. It was an attempt to go as far as I could successfully in the mode. Minimal deaths, maximal success. But basically, I'm 50 episodes in, and I still only have 34 dwellers. So I'm not doing you any favors continually doing what I'm doing. And in the case, yes, you wondered, I am doing more quests while we talk. But this is only so I can express my thoughts and pick up some stuff to fill some objectives and keep from being distracted by incidents and shiny objects along the way. Now, when I first went into survival mode, I began giving you all these tips and strategies. There's about 10 episodes where I actually did something like that. And I may have done it rather badly, but those early episodes were mainly about how to start off and survive the early game. This was the intent of what I would call Phase 1. Plant roots, build up some resources, and then plan for controlled expansion. Now, Phase 1 lasted a whole year, though. I got cautious and I began hanging around and not moving forward, and then I got real comfortable and complacent. My issue is that I can't keep taking in all this stuff because I just have no room. But as much as I keep adding inventory space, I can't utilize all of the items I get, especially the legendary ones, because I need peeps or dwellers just to meet the requirements for certain, the crafting for the legendary weapons and legendary outfits. Now, I'm holding on to all those legendary items, but I'm getting rid of some, rare and normal ones. But frankly, I've just hit a wall when it has come to progress. Now, think of it as this way. You're trying to put 5 gallons of water into a 3-gallon bucket because you need to use it at some point. But in order to keep storing it, you have to keep throwing away a gallon or two every time because you're not using it all. So it's time to move to Phase 2, but that requires some initial planning. And I've had some issues with this, which has delayed me from advancing. Now, the first issue is I only get time to play maybe a few times a week. Usually when I record, I just don't have the free time to play offline. So when I come into a recording session, not much advancement has been made as far as advancing dweller levels or specials, completions of quests, or other objectives. Quite simply, you are pretty much seeing a lot of the progression I am making with the Vault when you watch the video. There's not a lot of stuff being done behind the scenes. That is until this episode. I'm actually recording the audio ahead of time because I just don't have the recording schedule free time that I needed. So I've done all this all set up, and I went on a couple of quests, and now I'm recording the audio to mix into the final video. Now, the second issue is that because I don't have this time, the spare time to tinker, I had to do it all in one recording session, and that leaves either this huge editing snafu, removing the blocking and tackling, or you have to sit there and watch me scratch my butt for 45 minutes while I do some strategery on the fly. And neither is really great for content. Well, thirdly, the content I am making is pretty stagnant and not in line with what I originally intended with the survival series to be. So we need to change all that. So I'm going to get back into the other video for a little bit and or the other clips while we do this quest to show you what I've been doing. This is what I'm going to do. For starters, what better way for me to ring in a whole year's worth of survival videos than to open nearly 50 lunchboxes, which we will do at either a point in this video or to the next video. Now, hold on. I have a note here that says this will probably end badly. Why? Well, for one, going past 34 dwellers, which will inevitably happen with opening up that many lunchboxes, will attract death claws. That starts at 35 dwellers. And there's other new threats to the Vault that will happen as well. Now, also, the Vault, as it stands, is not sustainable because of the limited inventory space for people and stuff. So right now, we are not ready. However, I have two things going for me. I had 999,000 caps, and that's the most I could have gotten at that point in time. That means I can do a crap ton of work making things ready to accept all these goodies that we're about to get. And through the power of editing, I can be ready immediately, or at least to show you I'm ready immediately. So with that, I recorded the opening and this whole entire audio to go along with the video, so I can come back and make some changes. Now, let's look at what I have done and why. First off, I have staggered some barracks and warehouses and med bays and science labs at the bottom of the board. That will accomplish a couple of things. One, more human and material inventory space to allow the influx of stuff from lunchboxes. Two, this staggering of rooms will reduce the impact of other incidents. Now, they won't spread, which means they will resolve faster. A single room by itself, without anything touching it, will end quicker than it can when it has to spread to other rooms. And if there's nobody down there, they just resolve themselves quickly. So I kind of save myself a little bit of problems. And, because they won't spread, it means they'll resolve faster, and that limits the reduction of the resources, power, water, food, caps. And by resolving faster, I can then resume standard business of crafting or questing that much faster. Because when we're playing in survival, you got 90 seconds before the next incident happens, so you want to keep moving as much as you can. God, I'm really turning this like a business analyst, huh? So the exception to this rule, though, is just it's just rather a significant one. Besides death claws, random attacks of rad scorpions happen at 35 dwellers too. Now they're unique because they can jump across the floors. It means they can start at the bottom of the board, dig down in, and then appear somewhere further up on the board. I think that's the way it works, even if they're still touching dirt all the way around. I don't think that they follow the same rule as other attacks. Now this is going to test our agility of moving from one side or the vault or the top to the bottom of the vault to handle these other issues and not lose anybody, because once they die, they're done. I can't regenerate them like I can Mr. Handies or regular dwellers in the regular mode. It's not if you're playing on a phone or on a console, as you've seen me play, that's not exactly an easy task. Now, they also deal a ton of radiation, which will hinder the dweller's ability to gain back health with stim packs. So to deal with that, I've added some empty science rooms and hospitals to increase the inventory pool I can get of those things. I turn my Mr. Handy back on to keep collecting them as they get made, so that I will have multiples before I have to use them. That's essential to complete before I open up any of these lunchboxes. Because once I pull the trigger on these lunchboxes, I need to get working on utilizing all that stuff that we got. But since I just can't leave them standing at the door, those dwellers have to be processed. Now here's where it's going to get tricky. As long as they're outside, they don't impact the dweller count, which means they don't impact any incidents like death claws or rat scorps. But they also don't count towards the new rooms or the upgrades I need to put them somewhere. And if I throw them in these new rooms at the bottom, well, they're pretty vulnerable and will require more resources to protect. But more peeps means more drain. So I need to account for that. So I added in another power room as well. I built new resource rooms to handle the influx. Now this will also solve another problem with the rad scorps, is they can drain up to 1,000 points on your power, or they can drain up to 1,000 power points, which can decimate my resources pretty quickly. Now additionally, this leaves me in a bit of a strain because all these new dwellers are not trained and are low leveled. But the peeps I already maxed out on specials are now working in the resource rooms, so that helps out. So the original 34 dwellers will serve as mentors across all these other resource rooms. And I will just have to rotate people through training and then back into those rooms to, complement the ones that are already there. And depending on how many outfits and weapons I get from the Lunchbox-orama, I will then focus on crafting rooms to build the new items, since more dwellers means I will finally unlock legendary weapons and outfit recipes. So out of my 34 original dwellers, I may snag a couple to handle the crafting. Lastly, I'm going to put 2 of my best peeps in the power armor at the front door to minimize any raider, ghoul, or deathclaw attacks that occur. It's not going to stop them completely, but with a Mr. Handy on that top floor, it's going to accomplish a secondary goal. Raiders will come in and they will hit the vault door. Then, because Mr. Handies will float between the rooms on that floor, the raiders will stay on the first floor, hitting every room until they have to come back. Even on the first floor, if the rooms are empty, the Mr. Handy accounts for a dweller on that floor. This allows me to bottleneck the attacks and then only focus on healing 2 high-power peeps in each room instead of managing 6 lower-level, less armed peeps. By the time the intruders reach them, they're knocked down a bit. It's kind of like a tower defense strategy. And that covers basically what Phase 2 is. We're going to get ourselves built up so we get everybody leveled up in the size 50, and then we'll send them out and get more resources. Objectives aren't going to be so big unless they are going to be for lunchboxes or Nuka-Cola Quantums or Mr. Handy. Because now they don't have to worry about opening up lunchboxes every time. I can just open them up when I need to, because I'm not going to have to worry about hitting that 35 dweller threshold. That leads us up to Phase 3, and that is as yet undefined. Now, it may be something to do with any new updates to Fallout Shelter, though I highly suspect we're not going to be getting very many more because there are new titles coming out for Bethesda. You've already got Elder Scrolls Blades coming out and Fallout 76 coming out. And they'll be taking up a lot of the landscape, so I don't feel like there's going to be a lot of love thrown at these free-to-play mobile games that's over 3 years old. Now, Phase 3 also might be a testing ground. Maybe we can look at the different strategies of vault design, like I'm trying to employ here. Maybe we can stress test the vault to see if I can just kill everybody and see what happens. Who knows? If that happens, it might be something I do occasionally, since it will involve a lot of setup time. Even still, Phase 3 might be something completely different. I hate to say it, but I may start a new vault on the newly released PS4, which I actually did just to do a look through and go for all the trophies. I don't know if I want to do that, though, because it's not really that great of a layout, and the UI is kind of clunky, so we'll have to see. But sadly, Phase 3 just might be the end. I might decide it's time to close down the vault. It's been 3 years, and quite frankly, it's been a little stale for a while. That sucks, because a lot of the limited success of this channel has been because of this one game, this free-to-play game. My only patron is here because of Fallout Shelter. Hell, my Patreon rewards were centered around Fallout Shelter, and without it, I will probably lose what little fan base I do have. But we will soldier on, because I truly love this game, and it's been one of my favorites. It's not often you find a little casual player game clicker that sticks with you. Most come in and out of your life for like this brief time. You get them, you play for them a little bit, and then you move on. Stuff like Crossy Road or even Candy Crush, and you start to get bored of those things, and you go on to something else. You know, this little free-to-play game has been a lot like Skyrim for me. I had it on my phone, I had it on my PC, I have it through Steam. Now it's on the PS4. It's still fun to play, although starting a new vault every 5 weeks or so, it gets kind of old. So if anything, I hope to have shown my enjoyment over the years, and hopefully I was giving you some joy too watching these things. So we're going to keep moving what we're doing, and we're going to keep shaking and having and grooving and having all kinds of fun if we can. But as long as you're still out there, I'll keep trying to put some stuff for you to watch. And you can help me decide along the way. You can always go see my Patreon, and we might, suggest if, hey, maybe I can just do a patron-only video of me destroying everything in the vault, or taking all their weapons away and then waiting for death claws to come running through. Who knows? Maybe we'll do more uninterrupted videos with like an hour of just them having to deal with stuff and see what happens. But for now, I want to thank you all for watching. And keep living better underground, and have a good night. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.